What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics, and we are going to do a full story video. A full story video is when I sit down, take a bunch of videos that tell one overarching storyline, combine those videos together into one big video. And today, we are going to do Moon Knight 2014 series that took place right before Secret Wars. Now, in this run, you actually have Marvel dive deeper into the mind of Mark Spector to learn more about him. And this was very huge because this was probably one of the best runs in recent years of Moon Knight. Not the best, but one of the best. And so with that being said, I do hope you enjoy this run. And if you do, please hit that like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But here we go, Moon Knight 2014 series. I do hope you enjoy. So in the beginning of this book, it actually focuses on starting off by asking a question: who is Moon Knight? Like, we know he is Mark Spector. We know that he was shot and killed, but apparently he was brought back to life by Khonshu. Khonshu being this moon god. Mark Spector became the avatar for Khonshu. It is everything we kind of already had an idea about Moon Knight. Also asking the question, is Moon Knight insane, or deals with multiple personality disorder? It is Warren Ellis telling us that we should really think about who Moon Knight is, and do we really know who he is? Well, that is what I took from when it came to this book, except we didn't get the idea that Moon Knight is doing something different in this book, and you will see what I mean here in a minute. Skip forward to the moment where we say that Moon Knight might have a new personality. This time he is known as Mr. Knight. So what is this new person he is going by? Why is he doing this? These are some good questions to ask. Now, this book is not just going to blow open your mind right off the bat. There are a lot of small things here and there that help you piece things together to make you think, because each chapter is him dealing with something in the city of New York. With all of that being said, we see Moon Knight being Mr. Knight, and he is meeting up with Detective Flint. This is us learning that the two of them have some kind of deal that was done in the past, letting Mr. Knight be someone who helps with the crazy cases the police have going on. Now, when Mr. Knight walks in, they don't know him as Mr. Knight. They know him as Moon Knight. So they're looking at their boss, Detective Flint, like, dude, are you really going to let this man be here and work here on this case? They know Moon Knight has a maniac, he is a maniac who has killed people too. Flint tells them he is not Moon Knight, he is Mr. Knight, and that is it. Nothing else to say. He is here to help out. So getting into the first case that Mr. Knight is dealing with, we see him looking around a crime scene. This crime scene is where there is a dead body on the ground who was really cut up. The question is, who did it and why? So that is why Mr. Knight is here for, to figure out who the killer is. Honestly, this is the best moment of the book because it is Mr. Knight looking at all the clues the cops miss. He is able to build an idea on who they should be looking for and where this person could be at. It only took him about 3 minutes to look at the clues and explain to the cops where they should go. Then he tells the cops that he will deal with this killer because this killer is hiding somewhere in the sewers. Could be very dangerous, and the cops might not be able to handle this. So we see him going down a ladder that will lead him to some kind of tunnel, knowing that someone who is a killer like this must be hiding out somewhere in the lower parts of the sewers. Of course, as he is walking up, that is when he sees this person had made a home in this tunnel. So of course, Moon Knight knows he found the killer, especially when he sees a trail of blood on the ground. Now when he enters this room, Moon Knight throws one of his, I call Moonerangs, that comes into play here in a minute. But the killer hiding in the shadows asks Moon Knight if he is armed. Of course, Moon Knight is not anymore, but they can finally have a conversation. So the next set of pages is really where you have the book explain the killer. Not dealing with his origin too much, we don't get a name, but we learned that this guy is an ex-SHIELD agent. He was injured at one of the SHIELD camps where he had lost a lot of body parts and looked burned, so he was really messed up. SHIELD did not try to fix him up, so they let him go. So he took all of the SHIELD tech they had laying around, and what they did not use to help him, he used to make him what he is right now. Also, the people that he has been killing were for extra body parts that he was missing. He is doing all of this so SHIELD can hopefully take him back. He thinks that Mr. Knight is going to be an easy kill right at this moment. But remember that Moonerang that Mr. Knight threw earlier, because it was so loud down in this tunnel with all the machinery down there, this ex-SHIELD agent did not hear the Moonerang bouncing off things, so it lands perfectly in the stomach of this killer, where of course it is an important part that actually slows down this guy, giving Mr. Knight the chance to actually beat this guy down so quickly, which is the point. This guy was easy picking and thinking he had everything set to win whatever crosses his path. So this section wrapped up quickly and we moved on. Then we get this moment of the book where we see Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, aka Mr. Knight, as he is visiting a doctor about his mental state. And this was before he came back to New York with a new persona. This doctor basically tells him that he does not have personality disorder, that in reality, he has brain damage. She says that he did die. He was brought back to life, but not by Khonshu like he thinks he was, that some kind of space tech brought him back to life. Then goes on to say that since Khonshu was a god who attacks people at night, Khonshu has 4 traits: Pathfinder, Embracer, Defender, and Watcher. Each of these gave birth to a persona in Mark Spector's head, but in reality, he is not crazy. It is just thanks to his brain damage. Except then we jump back into the present day, where we see Mark Spector walking into his home. That is when he is hunted by the spirits of his other personas that he had used in the past. Also, he is still hunted by Khonshu, who tells Mark Spector that Mark belongs to him. And that is the end of just the first chapter. So we skip to the opening pages of the second chapter, and this begins another case Mr. Knight is going to work on. The opening pages doesn't even focus on Moon Knight. Instead, it focuses on 8 different people who we have no idea who they are. We just see them all having a normal day, or what a normal day would be for them. Except that is when each one of them is killed by a sniper. So the question is now, why are they dying? Also, as they are being killed, we see someone talking to us about what they did was wrong, how they were part of some special operation group. They apparently used someone for years for special work, and then discarded him and left this person in another country. So we get an idea what is going on here with this case. So we jump to the next section where it is Mark Spector being Moon Knight now, that he is not wearing his Mr. Knight persona gear, letting us know that maybe this requires more of a superhero rather than detective persona. This is the moment where you have Moon Knight actually find the sniper, and this begins a set of pages where you have Moon Knight fighting this guy. Of course, this guy is able to stand against Moon Knight for a time being, but it doesn't last long. Moon Knight is able to get the upper hand on this guy, and it all comes down to him finally telling Moon Knight everything he wants to know. Basically, he was a guy that was trained by a special operation force that sent in soldiers into other countries to change the course of the country. So like, if they have some special kind of election going on, that special group would send in this special agent to kill one of the people running in that election. There were 9 of them who worked in that special group, and the sniper had only killed 8 of those people. But that is when the last one appears out of nowhere and actually kills the sniper. He tells us how once they leave the special group, they go out and get new jobs. This agent was not supposed to come back, but since they trained him so well, there was no way this would not come back to kill them. But this chapter ends on that note. So it makes you wonder why in the world this took a whole chapter. But the 3rd chapter focuses on Mark Spector becoming Mr. Knight because his next case deals with more on the ghost side of things. So it takes a detective to figure out, but we don't get to see him do the work yet because we have to introduce the idea of a ghost gang running around New York and attacking random people for the heck of it. So it is like where these ghosts are coming from. Are these ghosts actually real or some kind of trick going on by maybe a new villain? So you have Mr. Knight appear in the city and begin the process of fighting these guys. But he learns very quickly that these guys are not real. These are actually ghosts. And this is something that he can't stop. So the question is, what can he do? All of his punches go through them. Except when they attack him, they brutally beat down on him, leaving him badly wounded. I'll say almost the wrong word. Wounded. It just seems that maybe he should go back to his home and hopefully figure something out that will help him deal with this problem. This is the perfect moment Warren Ellis, the writer of this book, reminds us about what is going on at the home of Mark Spector at the moment. Remember that he is being hunted by the spirits of his other personas. And of course, he is being hunted by Khonshu, the moon god that Mark Spector was being an avatar for. But this story is establishing that these personas were made only because Mark Spector was brought back to life by some kind of space tech. We know that is not true. But for the moment, let's go with it. Except this is the moment you have Khonshu talk to Mark Spector and tell him that apparently he has some kind of gear that can help him deal with the ghost problem. Also, this is Khonshu trying to make Mark Spector believe that ghosts are real. Because hey, there is Khonshu talking to you right now. That is when you see Mark Spector go into some kind of room where he finds all of this ancient armor that will allow him to beat the ghost. Except this is the moment you had a story continue the idea that Mark Spector persona forgets things when the other personas take over. Because he says he doesn't remember gathering these things. But at the same time, Khonshu says he was not supposed to remember. So we use the next section to show off Moon Knight wearing a set of ancient armor to give him the edge he needs against the ghosts. So you have him actually being able to punch them now, something he couldn't do at first. And this time the ghosts did not stand a chance against him, since these ghosts are more just biker gang. They don't know how to actually fight like Moon Knight does. So this fight does wrap up pretty quickly and then leads into him going somewhere else to hopefully end this ghost problem that is going on in the city. And so to close on this 3rd chapter of the book, we see Moon Knight being able to find the dead body that is causing all the ghosts in the city. Now this is not explained to us, but it could mean that this man was waiting for his friends to come back because his mom gave him a gift asking him to be a good guy from now on. I guess he was going to ask his friends to turn their life around as well. But this is the end of this issue here, and we have to move on to the next case, but getting more small moments about if Mark Spector is crazy. The next chapter is a different case, but still dealing with things that are not normal to see in the city, because we see Moon Knight picking up a guy named Dr. Skeleton. Now there is a connection between Dr. Skeleton and Moon Knight, but not going to get into it right now. Now Moon Knight is back in his Mr. Moon Knight persona because he was called by Detective Flint. The detective he had been working with for a while tells him about a case where there is a research about how sleeping and dreaming help people at night. The problem is that all the patients are having the same dream, something that should not be happening at all. No one should be able to have the same dream as another person. This dream is causing everyone to go mad and almost kill themselves in their sleep. So for Mr. Knight to figure out what is going on at this research lab, he has to be the next patient for Dr. Skeleton to figure out what is going on here. So Mr. Knight and Skeleton go to the place where the research lab is at, where it is some kind of old beat down building. Makes sense with the book. But either way, once they go inside, you have Mr. Knight ask for a room where 1, he can lock himself in, 2, no one can bother him either. Now this room is very important for the story. You will see why, because it is going to help Mr. Knight solve this case and be able to get who's at fault for this whole dream problem going on. He also asked Khonshu to help put him to sleep. So we then see Moon Knight being put to sleep by Khonshu. This leads into the dream sequence of the story, but we see Mr. Knight change personas into the Moon Knight persona, where he is now running around this dream world, hoping to help him figure out what is going on here. Now, while Moon Knight is running around this world, he is also finding out that there is someone trying to talk to him. This person is telling Moon Knight how he feels trapped in his corpse. He is wondering if this person is dead or alive. Moon Knight does see someone there in the dream world. Once he runs into this big brain, that is when he finally snaps out of this dream world. Now, once Moon Knight wakes up from his dream, well, this dude goes quickly into the office of Dr. Skeleton to talk to him. Well, I mean, he doesn't talk to him. Instead, we see Moon Knight begin the process of beating this guy down and dragging him into the other room to show him something. This is why I said that room plays a very important role for this story, because once they're in the room, well, that is the moment you have Moon Knight reveal under the floor there is a dead body that has rats eating it. Also has some kind of fungus growing out of the brain. That is when you have Dr. Skeleton tell us that when he first began his research project, his first patient was someone he got off Craigslist, except he had no idea that patient has some kind of fungi growing in his brain. So he died quickly in the research project. But Dr. Skeleton did not want anyone to know, so he decided to bury the body underneath the floor. Except with the body growing a fungus out of his brain, the people have been basically breathing in his dreams. So that is why people have been going crazy in this city. The chapter ends on that note. This next case is more normal because we pick up with Mr. Knight driving up to a building and a guy watching out front. This is where we learn that this guy and his crew have kidnapped some lady. So this is Mr. Knight asking about what floor the girl is on and how many people are in the building. He's wondering how he is going to save this young lady from this group of people that had kidnapped the girl. So the next of the pages is really just Mr. Knight going around beating these guys who have kidnapped the girl. It is Mr. Knight showing off his skills in beating these guys down, but making sure they learn a lesson about why they should not try to do evil things in his city. We see him stabbing people, throwing people off one floor to the other. It is a complete beating, but there is no reason for us to stick around on this moment, really. So we can move on to the next big thing in this chapter. So we see him being able to find the girl and she's being held at gunpoint. This is my favorite moment in this book because this man thinks he has the advantage over Moon Knight because the gun being pointed at the girl's head, except Moon Knight scared him so much he dropped the gun and Moon Knight takes him out easily. There was one thug that tried to run away by going out the roof exit and thinking that maybe he'll be the one to get away. Except Moon Knight decides to tell his moon plane to land right on top of this guy, squashing him and leaving him in a bloody mess. He's still alive though. This is Moon Knight is using this guy as a way to send a message to anyone out there trying to do something in his city. That's when they see him, they should run away, and that is the end of only the 5th chapter. With the final chapter of this book, we actually jump back to the beginning of this video. Not the very beginning, but the moment where you have Moon Knight talking to the cops where he was dealing with the ex-SHIELD agent case. There was a cop there who was questioning Moon Knight, thinking that he is some crazy dude and the cop should have dealt with the case. But when Moon Knight kind of said this cop couldn't handle this problem, we learned that growing up, this cop, his name is Ryan Trent, has always been verbally abused by people, and it led to him becoming a cop. We see Ryan Trent begin this training montage and also learn all of the information he can about Moon Knight, especially one of the villains Moon Knight had fought, but the person is dead who went by the name Black Spectra. We see him going through some old cases and old evidence, trying to learn how to use darts as his weapon to use against Moon Knight. He's doing all of this because Moon Knight told him he wasn't good enough to take care of a certain problem. He is constantly trying to get better, and he will keep trying to get better to beat Moon Knight. We then see Ryan Trent going to meet up with Marlene. If you are new to the Moon Knight comics, well, let me tell you who Marlene is. She was the love interest to Mark Spector, but he's coming here to learn more about Moon Knight from her. She's one of the 2 people who would know him the best, except she does not want to talk to Ryan. She does not want to talk about Mark Spector. She knows that he is back in town, but honestly, she does not care for Mark Spector at all. By the way, he asked her by pretending to be a SHIELD agent. He goes on to see John Paul, who was kind of like an assistant or partner to Mark Spector. But the point of this moment is Ryan still trying to get dirt on Mark Spector. Now, John Paul knows Ryan is pretending to be a SHIELD agent, but he tells Ryan that, hey, Moon Knight has not contacted anyone from his old group, which is great because of John Paul, he is just someone who uses people and blood money. Also, all the tech he is using is all autopilot, meaning he has not recruited anyone for a new crew at all. So this leads into Ryan going back home with everything he had gathered, and him talking to his wife about his plan, how he is going to be the new Black Spectra. It is going to be short-lived. He sees the errors of Black Spectra had, and thinks that he is going to do a better job. Black Spectra was a villain who was trying to kill Moon Knight and almost took over the city last time. For Ryan, he will become Black Spectra, but not be a villain. Just kill Moon Knight and replace him. He then goes on to kill his wife because it seems that maybe his wife could rat him out to the cops since he told her his plans. Okay, now I give Ryan some props here for his plan on killing Moon Knight. It is actually pretty clever, I have to say. The reason why I say that is because his plan is to kill some random person, leave that person in a car with a bomb underneath the car. So when Moon Knight drives up close to the site, because the police were called, meaning that Moon Knight was also called as well. Once Moon Knight has driven up close to the car with his own car, well, the bomb goes off and hopefully that will kill Moon Knight. And he can continue on with his plan to replace Moon Knight. Like I said, I give Ryan some props here for his plan, but of course it doesn't work. This book ends with Ryan trying to fight against Moon Knight and trying to just complete the idea of him taking over Moon Knight's place. Of course, it doesn't happen because Moon Knight is able to beat down on Ryan, and even after the second bomb goes off, Moon Knight doesn't get hurt or anything. So Ryan's plan has fallen apart that quickly. Then you have Moon Knight explain that Black Spectra was someone who just wanted to be loved. People who always want to be loved usually suffer. For Moon Knight, he does not need love, and that is why he always wins. And that is So with this book, it is actually a whole lot better than the previous story. The reason why I say that is because it actually continues what Warren Ellis was doing in the first story. This book is written by Brian Wood. He does a great job replacing Warren Ellis. Now we pick up with the random guy who is getting a sniper ready to take out someone known as General Alaman Lore. This general actually comes from a country in Africa known as Akima. Akima had their first election and was added to the United Nations, except he is going to address the United Nations. The reason why is because there are some accusations that this man had brought a lot of death because there was a war. He was one of the two people fighting in the war. So the question is, will this man make Akima better as a country or make it a whole lot worse? Either way, this sniper is stopped by Mr. Knight. Something to remember is that at this moment, Marvel was trying to paint a picture that maybe Mark Spector, who is Moon Knight or Mr. Knight, is not actually crazy. At first, Marvel was saying he had multiple personality disorder, but then his doctor tells him no, he has brain damage. That is why he has so many different personas, also stating that his brain damage made him believe that he is an avatar for Khonshu, that he wasn't brought back to life by Khonshu, but maybe some kind of alien tech really. Either way, while Mr. Knight is fighting against the sniper who is trying to kill the general, well, that is when you have the sniper actually release an EMP to kill all of the lights in the city. But of course, you have Mr. Knight continue to hunt down the sniper, hoping to be able to stop him from killing General Alaman Lore. Now, of course, Mr. Knight begins to ask the sniper why he is doing this. Of course, you have this sniper tell Mr. Knight that he is doing this for honor and, of course, freedom. Also letting us know that this sniper and the general have some kind of bad blood history. So of course, Mr. Knight is not happy to see this man attacking someone in his city. So it is Moon Knight trying to take care of this man and put him away. Except after this, it will lead into Mr. Knight having a one-on-one conversation with this sniper, hoping to learn more about him and why he is actually doing this. And Mr. Knight knows that this man is a soldier by the way he is acting, except this is also Mr. Knight asking for more from him, where you have the sniper tell Mr. Knight that he was sent in by the UN, but while he was in Akima, he saw the evil things that Alaman did in Akima, and he swore to the victims that General Alaman Lore would pay for everything he did wrong. Of course, this makes Moon Knight kind of realize that this guy is speaking some kind of truth here and feels bad for him. Except Mr. Knight knows that he cannot let this man commit murder in his city, so meaning that he has to stop this sniper before he does. So right when the sniper is about to take out Alaman, well, that is when you have Mr. Knight come in at the last second and stop him. But Moon Knight does see that the sniper was on the phone with someone. The question is though, who? That is when we dive into the overall plot of this story, because the person this sniper was talking to was Mark Spector therapist, the one who said that he does not have multiple personality disorder, that he had brain damage. So now the question is, why was the sniper talking to her? But the story doesn't dive into that problem right off the bat. Instead, we have to jump over to a new problem. Of course, this problem deals with someone who has taken a set of hostages at the One World Trade Center, somewhere important. Of course, this has everyone freaking out because of how dangerous the situation could be. Also, this is the moment we get reintroduced to Detective Flint. Flint was this detective that Mr. Knight had made some kind of deal with, where Mr. Knight comes by to help out with the police on certain cases. In this book, he actually plays a bigger role than he did in the earlier story. But of course, it let us know that this is a big situation and means that Mr. Knight, or Moon Knight, is going to be involved very soon. Speaking of Moon Knight, he is in his Moon Knight gear, and we see him breaking into the World Trade Center. This is huge because the cops had everything on lockdown and no one was supposed to go in. This is the moment that makes you wonder again if Moon Knight is actually insane in a way, because he tells Flint to call him Mr. Grant. That is the name of one of his other personas, Stephen Grant. But we see him breaking in and hoping to stop this guy who took people hostage before the feds come in and take over. This is the moment we get our first look at the bad guy of this chapter and what is his plan for doing all of this. First thing to mention is that he has some kind of bomb on him, strong enough to blow up at least 10 blocks in the city, which is very huge. Now, the reason why he is doing this is because he is just angry at the government. So it is one of those, I'm mad at the government and I want to make them pay for what they did to America. And so I am going to blow up a part of one of the major cities in America, which of course is New York in this story. But yes, that is his big plot right now. Now, once Moon Knight is in the building, you have Flint tell Moon Knight that, hey, listen, the FBI is going to take over very soon, meaning that they will soon be in charge of everything. So Moon Knight needs to stop this man now before the FBI moves in. But you have Moon Knight ask Flint to do one thing, of course, to call his doctor. And Flint doesn't answer back with a response to that, like, kind of weird. This is the moment you have Moon Knight being able to find the bad guy and plan on how he is going to take him down. Moon Knight moves in quickly on taking this man down because once he is in there and starts beating this guy down, Moon Knight makes sure this man will remember why it was a bad idea to do this in Moon Knight City. Moon Knight breaks both of this man's arms to make sure he remembers his mistakes, then goes on to what seems to me taking this man's hand away so that he won't be able to hit the trigger to the bomb. So of course, Moon Knight once again was able to save the day, but this chapter is not done just yet. Now this is the big moment because you have Moon Knight call up Flint to tell him everything is done now. Moon Knight has the bomb and he is going to bring it to Flint. Now Flint tells Moon Knight that he did call up Moon Knight's doctor, except when he did, Moon Knight's doctor, which I should tell you her name now because she is going to be very important. Her name is Elisa Warsame. She was the one who told Moon Knight, hey, you don't have multiple personality disorder, except she tells Flint that Moon Knight has been dodging her help and thinks that he is a danger to himself and others. So she thinks the police should bring him in. So Flint tells Moon Knight that he has to be brought in, except this is the moment she tells Flint that Mark Spector does have multiple personality disorder, the opposite to what she said in our last Moon Knight video. Moon Knight was able to get away and he went on to his home to basically talk to Khonshu, to tell Khonshu that he was betrayed. Something else to mention is that Khonshu is the moon god from the Egyptian mythos. Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, became the avatar for Khonshu to do his bidding. Either way, this is the moment Khonshu and Moon Knight realize they were betrayed by Mark's doctor, Elisa. So in the opening of the third chapter, we actually pick up with Mark Spector visiting his doctor, Elisa. This is him trying to make sure that she tells him everything that she is up to, that he knows that she is hiding something. His last two cases, she has somewhat been involved and wants to know why. This is the moment where they begin their session. You have them go in the mind of Mark Spector, where she gets to see him wearing the Khonshu armor that we saw back in our last video. She is trying to learn more about him, but also he knows that he can't just let her control this whole therapy session. He knows she is hiding something, but he doesn't know what she is hiding. She tells him that she is not hiding anything from him, but you have Mark Spector ask her to let him take control of this session. Use the same trick that she is using on him to use on her, letting Moon Knight get the chance to learn What is the big secret she is hiding? This is the moment we learn that Alyssa is actually from Africa. She is from the country known as Akima. So tie into the first chapter of this video, where that sniper Moon Knight stopped, who was trying to kill Alamin Lore, who was also from Akima. This is the moment we learn that Alyssa's whole family was killed. She is telling Moon Knight that Lore, Alamin Lore, went to her village and killed everyone. The only reason why she lived is because she was out getting some water and nowhere near the village. She knows it was Lore because he drove by her heading towards her village to kill everyone and burn everything, except Alamin Lore crimes were swept under a rug, and he was able to become the leader of this nation. Moon Knight tells her that there is a better way to deal with this problem. Try to expose Alamin Lore in different ways. But thing is, Alyssa is not listening and decides maybe she should show him something and make him relive the whole moment where her family got murdered. Except since they are in this mind session and she's making Mark Spector go through what was the worst moment of her life, these militia guys are now attacking Moon Knight in this memory. It is her showing him how bad it was because some of the soldiers who did the killing were just some young teenagers being forced to fight in the Akima War. Moon Knight understands that if she kills Lore, it will bring her peace, but could make things worse for Akima. They could for sure lose everything they have built up in that country. So what Alyssa does next, she expands this session by showing him other people out there who are war criminals all across the world. Then she brings them back into her memory, where it is the moment her sister and her mother is about to be killed by Alamin Lore. So Moon Knight is actually trying to stop Lore from killing those people, even though Moon Knight knows he can't do it. Moon Knight knows that he will actually fail at doing this because none of this is real at the moment. But he snaps out of it because he knows that she was trying to convince him to join her side and actually go kill Lore for the crimes he did. Except that is the moment she tells Mark Spector that she was not trying to recruit Moon Knight. That actually she was trying to recruit Khonshu, become the new avatar for Khonshu, and then go on to do his bidding across the world. Where Mark Spector thinks he is still in control because this is the moment he says that he thinks that himself was Khonshu, or Khonshu was just something else inside of him, except Khonshu wasn't. And now Khonshu leaves Mark Spector behind and makes Alyssa the new avatar. When Mark Spector wakes up, well, that is the moment he realized the doctor is gone, and he wonders where she has gone. He does go to her desk, and that gives him some information about where the doctor could have gone to. The problem is that she planted a bomb hoping to kill Mark Spector. Mark Spector does try to call in his other personas or try to call in Khonshu to help him. The thing is, they're all gone. Because this is the moment Marvel is saying Khonshu has a new avatar, Alyssa. But either way, Mark Spector has to find a way out of there by himself before the bomb blows up. And so the next chapter picks up with a random character named Gloria Rosa, who is your everyday cop. She's doing her job and minding her business, not letting anything bother her, except when she goes into work thinking that she's going to have a good day. That is when she is confronted by Alyssa, who is now wearing the sacred Khonshu armor, telling Gloria that she's going to die in 36 hours. Telling her that in 36 hours, Alyssa is going to call up Gloria to have her help with something. Since Alyssa was able to pop in and out without being seen, of course, this freaks out Gloria, but the only thing she can do now is just go home. 36 hours have passed by, and we see Alyssa, who is now Moon Knight, basically confronting Gloria in Gloria's apartment. Now to Gloria, she is wondering how in the world did Alyssa get inside her apartment. This is Alyssa stating that this could be some mind attack, because Alyssa could really not be inside the apartment. This is the moment we learn that Gloria actually works for the United Nations. She is a cop, who is really a security guard for the place. That is important because it is the moment Alyssa tells Gloria that she is currently protecting Alamin Lore. Remember, in the beginning of this video, Akima, the country from Africa, is being added into the United Nations, and Alamin Lore is their leader. So that makes Alyssa show Gloria all of the bad memories she has showed Moon Knight earlier, letting Gloria know how bad Alamin Lore is, and that gets Gloria to join Alyssa and help Alyssa take down Alamin Lore. Now, when Gloria goes back to work the next day, she is told how Alamin Lore is going to arrive at the United Nations building. He'll be coming in under some disguise. Speaking of disguise, Alyssa was able to get a new identity, pretending to be some random FBI agent that is going to help out with protecting Alamin Lore. Of course, we know that this is just Alyssa giving Gloria the chance to kill Alamin Lore, and none of it will trace back to Alyssa at all. But when Gloria gets the chance to actually kill Alamin Lore, well, that is the moment you have Mark Spector appear and let us know that Mark Spector did not die from that bomb from earlier, but also saving Alamin Lore for the moment. Now, with him saving Alamin Lore, it is a good thing, but also you have to remember that Mark Spector is a wanted man. Remember, Alyssa told the police that she was his therapist, and she told the cops Mark Spector is a danger to himself and others around him. When the bomb went off, she put the blame towards him. So of course, this man is wanted and he is taken into custody what seems to be FBI, and Alyssa is gone in the wind trying to find another way to kill Alamin Lore. So in the next chapter, we see that Mark Spector has been put inside some kind of facility that is supposed to take care of patients who may be mentally unstable. Now, even though we know Mark Spector is mentally unstable, this facility is not a real one. This must be something else Alyssa cooked up to keep Mark Spector in prison. Matter of fact, when he goes in to talk to what he believes to be the head therapist of this facility, Mark brings up the idea that they have not given his rights for a lawyer or a call. On top of that, makes this whole process illegal, except this guy wearing the mask acting like he is in charge and tells Mark that he has to accept obedience and compliance. Now, this man who's in charge goes on to tell Mark Spector that no laws haven't been broken, going back to what Alyssa had told the police about Mark, him being a danger to the world. She even wrote up papers to show that she has been working on him and she has proof he is insane. In all reality, she is making sure that Mark Spector cannot go anywhere until she is able to complete her goal. Even when he gets into his room, when he thinks he has time to look around trying to see where in the world he is at, how he is going to break out of this room, these guys let him know that they are always watching him, making sure that there is no way he will find a way out of this room or prison that they have him in at the moment. Khonshu still talks to Mark Spector, just that he is mocking him for not finding a way out of this place. Also continue to show that Khonshu has moved on really to Alyssa, but seeing if maybe Mark could be his avatar again. Really, it comes down to what happens in the next few moments. The next part, we see Khonshu actually still helping Mark out while he is doing his daily routine for this facility. Because while going on with the day, that is the moment you have someone actually attack Mark by stabbing him. That is just enough to send him into the infirmary to get patched up, but to also begin the process of Mark Spector breaking out of here to get to Alyssa. So while you have Mark Spector getting patched up by the nurse, well, he is having a conversation with Khonshu about how Alyssa is not the person who should be his avatar, letting Khonshu know that something is wrong here. Since the war was so long ago, the idea of her using people to help her kill Alan and Lore, being able to lock up Mark Spector in a fake facility, using her license as a therapist to keep Mark away, it is Mark Spector telling Khonshu he may be a god, but not a perfect god, and he made a mistake abandoning Mark and letting Alyssa be the one in charge now. Now, the last of the pages is where Mark begins the process of breaking out of this place by punching the nurse in the face so that he can find a hidden passage somewhere hoping to lead him outside. The only problem is that when he finds that passage, well, it leads him into finding out that he is actually on some kind of plane. They open the hatch and let this man fall out of the plane to his death, leaving us to wonder, will this man survive the fall or not? But he did find out that this place was a fake facility that was trying to hold him. Now we know that Khonshu was going to save Mark Spector because 1, it is a Moon Knight book. 2, because thanks to Mark Spector telling Khonshu that, hey man, you should really look into Alyssa because she is playing you right now. Either way, he gives Mark Spector the armor he needs and having him crash into some lake or whatever. Later on, he is then pulled out by some fishermen. But this is going to begin the process of Mark Spector going after Alyssa, hoping to stop her, but he needs to do a few things first before he is able to actually stop her. The first person that Mark Spector calls up is a blogger, and if I remember correctly, she does not have a name. She is just some kind of blogger, but he is going to use this blogger as a way to get the word out of what Alyssa is doing. He tells her that he has the money in hidden places to pay for all the expenses he needs from this blogger, except he needs to get this story out and other people involved to help him take out Alyssa. We then see that Alyssa had hired some guards and was able to grab Alan and Lore to complete her revenge. You also have Khonshu kind of playing mind games on him to make this man freak out even more. At the same time, Khonshu is beginning to believe what Mark Spector was saying about Alyssa, how there is something off about her, that her story being that she is out to get revenge against Alan and Lore for killing her parents could be false. So it is Khonshu really thinking about leaving her and going back to Mark Spector, except waiting for the right moment before he does that. Getting back to Mark Spector, we see him landing back in New York and also calling up the blogger. It is her letting us know that she has found something about Alyssa that is going to help Mark Spector out. Also, this is the moment where you have Khonshu letting Mark know that Mark has Khonshu back on his side and Alyssa is broken. Not literally, but her control on being the avatar for Khonshu is. You have Khonshu explaining that she has already lost her support, meaning the guards she had watching Alan and Lore, so now it is just her and him in a room. This is where we learn what the big secret was when it comes to Alyssa, that she was never poor at all, that in reality, she was actually rich. Her dad had all of the money, except her dad was part of the process where the Danish warlords put her father in charge of the Akima country. He would then sell all of the resources to the Danish, which bled the country dry. That, of course, led to a war, and Alan and Lore was part of the resistance trying to free the country. Of course, he was able to do that, but he's also holding all of the money Alyssa's father had, and that is what she wants from him. The way the book ends, it is more of Mark Spector trying to get there before Alyssa is able to kill Alan and Lore. At the same time, we see that while she's about to pull the trigger to kill Alan and Lore, we begin to see the true memories of Alyssa the night her parents died, because Alan and Lore men and him came there to kill her father for all of the wrong he has done over time. At that moment where she is choking him out and it looks like she's about to get everything she wants, you have Mark Spector being able to get there and actually stop her right at that moment. And the book ends right there. And with that being said, so this book is really weird. Honestly, to me, the earlier stories were a whole lot better. This one had an idea, but for me personally, it did not hit the note it was going for. Either way, we pick up with Mark Spector in an abandoned hotel. This is the home apparently he is staying in now, but this place is haunted by ghosts. Now Moon Knight is not freaking out because in an earlier video, he dealt with ghosts, except he wants these ghosts to leave. But this is the moment we find out that Khonshu, the moon god Mark Spector is an avatar for, has made Moon Knight a priest to spread Khonshu's word. These ghosts are here to listen to the word or whatever, but apparently these ghosts need help as well. Something is going on and Mark Spector needs to follow the ghosts to figure out what is going on with them. Well, he needs to follow the footprints on the ground. This is where we come to find out that a group of people have set up shop in some warehouse. They are going around and capturing ghosts to, of course, sell them on the black market. This is very interesting because honestly, this has been done before in other books with different characters in the world we live in, but it is rarely done. So seeing it now is pretty nice. Either way, it is Moon Knight being able to find them and being able to beat these guys down very quickly. They tell him everything I just told you they were trying to do with these ghosts. Now, as we are watching this, I want you to see Moon Knight is still the brutal hero he has always been, making sure they remember this night for the rest of their lives. Now, there is a moment where you have one of the guys of this operation ask how in the world did Moon Knight find them? Well, Moon Knight said he followed the footprints. Now, of course, we know that there are no actual footprints. The reason why I say that is because the guy Moon Knight is talking to basically looks at Moon Knight confused because he does not see any footprints on the ground. Of course, once that is done, you have Moon Knight release all of the ghosts that were trapped in those devices. It leads to Moon Knight telling the ghosts that they are able to finally leave and move on with their lives. Of course, they don't leave because remember what I said in the beginning of this video. When it comes to Khonshu, Khonshu had basically made Moon Knight his priest to gain more followers to his cause. So even though Moon Knight tells the ghosts they should move on and he is trying to go home, except the ghosts still don't leave. They actually follow him back home, meaning that they are saying that no matter what, they will follow Moon Knight everywhere he goes. Because one, they believe they should help him out, but now they are followers of Khonshu thanks to Moon Knight being the priest for Khonshu, and that is the end of the first chapter. So with the second chapter of this book, we pick up with Mark Spector being Mr. Knight again, and meeting up with Detective Flint. Now for you new fans out there who may not know who Flint is, in the last two videos, Flint was someone that made a deal with Moon Knight that whenever there is some kind of police case that has to be looked over, Moon Knight will be called in. So it is Flint calling in Moon Knight because there was a dead body found where the man's body was torn apart, what seems to be by a werewolf. This is a nod to Moon Knight's first appearance in Werewolf by Night number 82. Either way, it is Moon Knight telling Flint he came here because he was asked to come here by Flint, but also that the gods have asked Moon Knight to do them a favor. Also, this is the moment we see Moon Knight being okay with being a priest now for Khonshu. Later that night, the story jumps over to a random fancy restaurant that does not have a name for this story. We see that everyone is having a normal time and minding their business, except that is the moment the workers go to open the door to the back and a bunch of dogs come out of nowhere and begin the process of just attacking people in the restaurant, letting us know that what Flint thought is wrong. He thought it was a werewolf going around killing people. Instead, it was really a pack of wild dogs going around attacking people. So now this place has become a bloodbath because these wild dogs are just going down on these people. So you have Mark Spector appear into this restaurant, being able to save the staff and the customers that were still alive. Now this is him hoping to stop these dogs to hopefully learn some kind of answers on why they are doing this. Except there is a moment where they are able to overrun him. Like, he does not stand a chance against a pack of wild dogs because they're just biting him over and over again. Now he is able to finally beat some of them down and make them run away. There is a reason why he did that, because he was able to put a tracer on one of the dogs to hopefully learn why they are going around attacking people and who is behind all of this. So you have Moon Knight being able to switch into his Mr. Knight outfit and to where the tracer is located at. Of course, it leads him to some random junkyard, but once he gets there, well, that is the moment he sees the dog is dead. He knows whoever is behind this killed the dog. So this makes Moon Knight even more upset because now there is a dead innocent animal. When Moon Knight goes inside the main building of this junkyard, that is the moment he finds more dogs locked up in cages. This makes Moon Knight figure out what is going on here, and now he wants to stop whoever is behind all of this. So you have Moon Knight waiting for the owner to come back home, and of course we learn that this man was using the dogs to attack rich people. The reason why is because rich people get everything they want, so that is why. Now Moon Knight is upset because this man had committed murder for one, but also that he is doing something in Moon Knight City. Finally, Moon Knight is also upset because he used innocent animals to do his bidding in the city. So you have Moon Knight use the dogs to attack this man to get back at him for the murders and also getting back at treating animals wrongfully. So that is the end of the second chapter. Now the third chapter is more on the supernatural side. We pick up with Moon Knight bleeding everywhere and on the verge of dying. At the same time, Khonshu had apparently left him or did not give him the strength he needed to fight against whatever monster that did this to him. He tried his best, but of course, Moon Knight was still not strong enough to stop it. So it does look like maybe Moon Knight is going to die here. Except this is the moment we see a group of people appear out of nowhere. They are here to actually help Moon Knight and for other reasons as well. So we see them actually help Moon Knight up and walk away with him. Some time has passed by and we see Mark Spector waking up in one of the beds in the abandoned hotel we saw in the beginning of this video. These people brought him here to help him, but because they are followers of Khonshu. Remember that Khonshu had made Mark Spector a priest to kind of spread the word of Khonshu across the world. Now the last time we dealt with him being a priest, it was with ghosts being followers, except this time it is actually real people who have become followers of Khonshu. This is the moment you have Mark Spector and Khonshu having a one-on-one conversation with each other. Because remember, in the beginning of this chapter, we learned that Khonshu had left Moon Knight, except we kind of find out that is not completely true. Khonshu still likes Mark Spector, but he did not want Mark Spector to go after whatever Mark Spector fought against. We learned that whatever Mark Spector fought against is killing children. But this is Mark Spector telling Khonshu if Khonshu does not want to help, then Mark Spector does not need Khonshu to complete this mission. So we see Mark Spector going on his own. So we see Mark Spector leaving the room. Of course, the people who had helped him try to put him back in bed, of course, Moon Knight does not listen to their advice and continues to go to a room. This is him getting all the guns he is going to need to stop whatever kind of monster he fought against earlier. Now he has to do this without the help from Khonshu. This is the moment we learn that the monster he fought earlier is actually known as the Boogie Man. Yes, the Boogie Man. But it is him going after children to, of course, kill them. He will kill this final child in this apartment building, and then he will move on to the next one and continue the process all over again. Except we are about to learn something really important about this Boogie Man. But before we can learn that, we have to get into a battle between Moon Knight and the Boogie Man first. The reason why I say that is because there are a bunch of bullets firing in the back of the Boogie Man, of course, giving the child the time she needs to run away. So we get this epic battle between Moon Knight and the Boogie Man, because they do go back and forth, and this is basically Moon Knight telling us and Khonshu that he will do whatever it takes to complete this mission. That means using all of the guns he has in his arsenal, taking hits from this thing as well. Of course, the fight does end with Moon Knight being the one to win the battle, except there is something else we are going to learn about the Boogie Man here. See, remember, Khonshu did not completely leave Mark Spector, just Khonshu did not want Mark Spector to fight this guy. The reason why is because it seems that the Boogie Man is also an avatar for Khonshu. The only reason we learn that is because he cries out to Khonshu asking why Khonshu has left him, letting us know that Khonshu did not support this fight for a reason. He did not want to see his two avatars fighting against each other. So in the opening of the 4th chapter, we see that this seems to be a normal day, or what could be a normal day in New York, except that is when some random people who are walking down the street are grabbed by some random people in flying suits. So now we know what is going on in this chapter. We know they're really just grabbing some random people, not like these people were actually selected by this group of people. They were just there at the wrong time. Of course, it does not take long before you have Moon Knight appear and tries his best to take down all of these guys. Now, this is Moon Knight again not being nice to the bad guys, not giving them the easy chance out of this. We see Moon Knight just blowing up people left and right. They don't stand a chance against Moon Knight. They try so many different things to hopefully give them the edge to stop Moon Knight. Of course, none of them work, but ends up with one of them getting away. This is what Moon Knight wanted to happen so that he can follow this last pretend angel flyer to wherever their base was at, so that he can learn why they did all of this. And so the last chapter of this book is really Moon Knight going to the secret base of the flyers were using, coming to find out that they were bringing folks here to some other kind of god, and the people who are being held here hostage thinking that Moon Knight came here to finally kill them for this raptor god. Except, of course, Moon Knight is not here to kill them. He is there to help them. So we see Moon Knight being able to free the people and then begin the process of beating the last guy he told to find this location. The chapter really ends on that note right there. Honestly, just saying, there are other people out there being avatars for different gods, or they believe they are. In reality, they are not. And that is the end of the 4th chapter. So in the opening of the 5th chapter, we pick up with an old man going inside some kind of warehouse, supposed to be some kind of shelter, except when this old man gets inside, we learn that this is some group of people that want the homeless to go out there and beg for money and bring the money back, like they have to reach some certain kind of amount. Now, this old man realized that these signs were made like they were mass produced in some kind of factory. Of course, when the old man said that, well, that made this other guy decide to show the old man what is really going on inside the warehouse. So you have the man running the place take the old man down in some other room to show some homeless people that go out there to collect money through more aggressive methods. So of course, using guns to force people to give up money. But then we see this man take the old man into a third room. And in this room, well, they do sacrifices. Everyone they kill, of course, is a way to praise the one and only Khonshu. This man in charge wants to kill the old man next for Khonshu. Of course, this is the moment we find out that this old man was actually Moon Knight in disguise. He needed to get inside so that he could figure out what was going on in this place. But it led to Moon Knight taking out all of these guys. So Moon Knight changes into his Mr. Knight outfit and then goes on to beat up what we thought was the original man in charge. But come to find out that this man is not in charge. That is when we see another group of people telling Mr. Knight that they were expecting him. Remember that Khonshu had Moon Knight, a priest, to spread the word of Khonshu across the land. But the way they are talking to him, well, they are making it seem that maybe there is someone else going around being a priest for Khonshu to spread his word across the land. That is when we see Mr. Knight meeting some lady. Now, some people say she is Princess Niftis. I hope I pronounced that correctly, from the older Moon Knight comics. But the way she is talking, it seems that these two have never met. So why would it be a character from the old Marvel comics if Moon Knight is acting like he never met her? Either way, she is talking to Mr. Knight, or Moon Knight, sorry, about how she is another priest for Khonshu, and Khonshu wants the two of them to work together to help spread his word. Now, of course, Moon Knight thinks that this lady is crazy because Khonshu never told him anything about her. Also that the way she is talking, she never had talked to Khonshu. So it is just some nut job from college who found out about Khonshu and thinks it is something cool to follow. So of course, this begins a battle between the two of them that gets pretty bloody because why not? Except while this fight is going on, it does at first seem that maybe Khonshu had picked this lady to help him. The way she is talking and being able to beat down on Moon Knight, except of course, you do have Moon Knight being able to get back up and actually defeat her. Before he leaves, the book makes it seem that yes, she was crazy, that Khonshu never had given her his powers to help him, that she made it all up in her head. And the reason why I say that is because I could be wrong here. When Moon Knight leaves the building, he is being carried away by Khonshu, who tells him that he will always be there for his son. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please hit that like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video.